Murray Newton Rothbard, one of the greatest enemies of the state in the second half of the 20th century. Today, he would have been 97 years old. Rothbard was one of the few who rejected the current order of things and declared it to be profoundly wrong. His greatest practical achievement was the demystification of the state, an entity that must be cloaked in apologias and ringed with armed men in order to survive. Before his classic piece, The Anatomy of the State, there was a serious lull in substantive writing on the state qua state, the actual substance of what a state is, and what it necessarily implies. Rothbard's insight was that the state is not a separate entity, but a shorthand for the political power using individuals who make it up, who operate under the same ethics as any non-bureaucrat does. Since the state is involved in taxation, conscription, regulation of business, warfare, welfare, censorship, and imprisonment among other things, it follows that the state is a criminal organization of the highest caliber. This was Rothbard's chief insight and made him a great enemy of the state. Armed with his mentor Ludwig von Mises's insight that socialism cannot long persist due to the impossibility of economic calculation, Rothbard saw the cracks in the Soviet edifice long before his contemporaries. Though the victory was far from total, Rothbard and his like were vindicated when the Soviet Union and its worm-eaten client states collapsed under the weight of their own bureaucracies, much as he predicted. If Rothbard and the underground liberty movement around the world have a political legacy that one can see in the daily papers, it is the rout of outright socialism. Unfortunately, the gains that Rothbard oversaw in his last years have not been well stewarded, let alone advanced. According to Freedom House, there has been an ominous trend since 2006. Every year, more countries lose liberty than gain it. By their estimates, as of 2021, only 1 in 5 people live in free countries. The Great Recession brought banking under the control of the state and served as a launchpad for the Obama spending bonanza. Since Donald Trump had a dubious commitment to market rights, it should not have been surprising that he spent even faster than his predecessor, and President Biden proceeded to spend more than Trump. The state's response to the coronavirus pandemic is the biggest story of all. Oppression overseas is one thing, but oppression at home is another ballgame. American churches were closed, many never to reopen. American businesses were closed, many also never to reopen. Masks were mandated first, and then so was the vaccine, with at one point over 100 countries requiring proof of vaccination to enter. The state's response to the pandemic has been a clear example of the need to remain vigilant against the encroachment of state power on individual liberty. In conclusion, Murray Newton Rothbard was a great enemy of the state who demystified the entity and exposed it for what it is, a criminal organization of the highest caliber. He saw the cracks in the Soviet edifice and helped rout outright socialism. Though the gains he oversaw in his last years have not been well stewarded, his legacy lives on in the need to remain vigilant against the encroachment of state power on individual liberty. Thank you for watching. Subscribe Libertarian Facts.